Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do, but it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you, when judgment comes for you, tell me what you gonna do, when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you, 'cause it's gonna come for you.
Swinging it for water, easy, see something Charlie. Little boo guy's got him, and I'm gonna miss everybody out of row and flows like eggs. Looked at a wild flag and prayed for dust, and they play too deep for being sad. Little legs I got to be. Tell me your feature deceased, would it please? Marry me by my grand when you can go follow
God bless you, working on the plan.
Back on Wrestling Network, welcome back to the CrosUp, the weekly look back at the week that was in pro wrestling, and it was a loaded one as it was WrestleMania week. But I'll be running through the results from Collision from April 12th to SmackDown on April 18th, as well as TNA's Unbreakable, NXT Stand and Deliver, and both nights of WrestleMania. And I actually will cover two collisions because they had one Saturday and then he also had one Thursday, so they didn't have to compete with WrestleMania on Saturday. So we'll start with the first collision. Commentary tells us that Pac has been injured, and Jon Moxley will take his place as the Trios champion while he is out. FTR come out to explain turning on Cope at Dynasty. Wheeler talks about how the more he listened to Harwood or to Dax talk about Cope, the more it made sense. The reality was that Cope only cared about himself, so at Dynasty everything clicked. Cope saw Wheeler as a helpless kid, but the reality is FTR are living legends, and they should be treated as such. Harwood has been realizing he needed to change, and the people will understand that he is right. After waiting for 4 months, the only thing they were allowed to be was Cope's new edgeheads. Just like every wrestler in Cope's place, he was too selfish because he wanted them to help him win another world title. That sets off Dax to start talking to Tony Schiavone, who he mentions wasn't pleased with him at Dynamite, dug into him pretty hard. And against Nigel's advice, Schiavone actually gets in the ring, and he tells FTR that they were wrong and that their family should be ashamed of them. Dax cuts him off and brings up the fact that Schiavone brought up his daughter. Schiavone then brings it up again, and it ends up getting almost loaded up for a spike pile driver, but Nigel jumps in, kind of shoves him off, steps in between them, and then Daniel Garcia comes out. FTR shove him down because they didn't really know who it was, and then they immediately start apologizing and helping them up because Daniel Garcia is their buddy, and then FTR kind of leaves without doing anything else. We then get Toni Storm. She is ready for the Owen Hart tournament winner and has some thoughts for her competitors. She goes through all of them, but some of them were a little more nondescript than others. But Mercedes Moné, she says she'll drain her 401k and leave her having to drink her bathwater. She brings up Chris Statlander, and she just goes, "My God, what a woman!" And then she brings up Jamie Hayter and says no one has ever made a dime in wrestling pretending to be from another era, obviously poking fun at herself. We then get Jamie Hayter. She defeats Billy Starks via pinfall following the Haterade that advances her to the semifinals of the Owen. The Death Riders are then ready to keep fighting without Pac. Moxley taking his place as the Trios champion. Moxley isn't sure what the ops are teaching Hook, but chicks dig scars. We then get the Gates of Agony. They defeat a couple of jobbers. They don't even name them, finishing them off with the Open the Gates. We then get FTR. They go to leave, but Matt Menard and Angelo Parker cut them off and just yell at them endlessly. And then eventually they agree to a match later on. We then get Anthony Bowens. He defeats Blake Christian via pinfall following a discus forearm. After the match, Bowens says this is a long time coming, and he is a 5-tool player. He doesn't need some document to prove that he is the best. So who is the best to get a beating? So he's just trying to hype himself up and get his singles career really off the mat. Megan Bayne then defeats LMK and Kelly Madden when she hits the Fates Descent on Madden onto LMK. and then does a double pin on both of them. Kevin Knight then defeats AR Fox via pinfall following a springboard clothesline. The Gates of Agony then say they want the Hurt Syndicate, and I actually believe they faced them on Dynamite later in the week, so we'll talk about that one in a minute. And then we get FTR defeating Angelo Parker and Matt Menard when they hit multiple spike pile drivers on Menard. After the match, Garcia yells at FTR and checks on Menard, only to get beaten up as well. The spike pile driver plants Garcia again, so security comes out to save them. As they start to do another one, the Paragon then makes the save to get them out of there. That's Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. We then get Athena defeating Harley Cameron via pinfall following the O-Face. This advances Athena to the semifinals of the Owen to face Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Moné is then in the back and says she is ready to face Athena in her hometown of Boston. And then we get our main event, which is another Owen Hart quarterfinal, where Konosuke Takeshita defeats Brody King via pinfall following a pair of running knees. Solid show all around, but the best match for me was that last match with Takeshita and Brody King. We then go to Raw. We look at Jey Uso getting fired up for his match with Gunther at WrestleMania, saying he's no longer afraid. Gunther comes out to talk to Michael Cole. Gunther does not want to hear about Jey and is ready to destroy him. Gunther actually says, screw Jey and the people, because he is the greatest gift WWE has ever seen. He is the greatest World Heavyweight Champion of all time, and he will not let Jey ruin that for him. Jey can have all the confidence he wants coming into WrestleMania, but the reality is Jey cannot lace Gunther's boots. Gunther then promises to lay him out for a fourth time, and then Gunther will get to call his mother and talk about his big win. We then get Bianca Belair. She has been going through a lot lately, but is ready for WrestleMania. She cannot deny that it's a triple threat now, and she is going to use everything she has been through to become the next Women's World Champion. Bayley then defeats Liv Morgan via pinfall when Lyra holds Bayley in place during an Oblivion attempt, and Bayley then rolls Liv up for the win. Rhea then sees right through Bianca Belair's lies and knows what she is here to do. The reality is that Ripley will stop at nothing to get back what she loves, which is the women's world title. Then she used a page out of Io Sky's playbook to get back to the title match at WrestleMania, and then she is going to get her title back when she defeats one of the two this weekend. Rey Mysterio then defeats Julius Creed via pinfall following a 619 and a slingshot splash. El Grande Americano comes in to take out Mysterio and drop Dragon Lee before the save can be made. We then get the War Raiders. They're ready to face the New Day at WrestleMania and promise war. New Day responds and says they are ready for war as well. And last week was just a taste of what they're willing to do to get their tag titles back. We then get AJ Styles defeating Karrion Kross via pinfall following a phenomenal forearm. After the match, Logan Paul comes to insult Sacramento and AJ Styles before promising a win at WrestleMania. Then he shows like a highlight reel of himself, which has Styles wanting to fight Logan right now. Kross then gets back up to jump Styles, who lays him out, only to get caught with a big right hand, and then the pulverizer leaves Styles laying to end the segment. We then get Jey Uso. He comes in. The fans obviously pop huge for his entrance. He starts standing on the announce table. He talks about how he heard Gunther sounding scared earlier, and he is ready to take his title at WrestleMania. This was just they basically just said what I just said and just dances and hypes himself up and hypes up Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. And that's pretty much what that entire segment was. We then get the Judgment Day jumping Braun Breaker backstage. Finn Balor then defeats Penta via DQ when Braun Breaker comes out and attacks Finn for the previous attack that he just happened. After the match, a big brawl is on, and Breaker spears all through the Judgment Day, and Penta ends up hitting a massive dive out onto everyone. We then get Io Sky. She gets her promo time. She is tired of being respected by both women because she is still the champion and will be after WrestleMania. CM Punk then comes up to Paul Heyman, who had been waiting for Roman Reigns. Punk asks what Heyman sees when he looks in Punk's eyes. Heyman says a cult of personality, question mark. Punk means a real friend, but Reigns comes in and won't talk to Heyman whatsoever. Reigns then comes straight to the ring. Heyman looks very nervous, obviously. Reigns knows that the fans here would not betray him, but not everyone is like that. Someone would betray him, and how could Heyman do that to him? The fans let Heyman know that he effed up, but Reigns wants them to be louder. Reigns asks Heyman why he did what he did, but Heyman says it is not a betrayal because he was just paying back a favor. Reigns doesn't get that because someone paying back a favor should be done yourself. The reality is that Reigns would never ask for a favor, so why is he covering Heyman's tab? Seth Rollins then comes out to interrupt, saying Reigns is finally starting to put the pieces together. It's too little too late, though, because Rollins has to end him at WrestleMania. This is going to be the most important triple threat in wrestling history because the winner will define the future of the industry. It can't be Reigns, who only shows up when it's convenient, and it can't be Punk, who walks out when things get tough, and this business will die if that's the case. Rollins will sacrifice himself for what is best for business, so it has to be him winning at WrestleMania. The only thing that Reigns has not figured out is that a favor is a choice. Last week, he chose to not take Heyman out, so now Heyman gets to decide if he will pay that favor back. Heyman has made a choice to be in Punk's corner at WrestleMania, and Reigns needs to find out why Heyman picked Punk over him. Reigns then says, "Wise man, he's right. Why did you do that?" Reigns says Heyman has made his choice, and now Reigns is making his, and he decks Rollins. Heyman acknowledges Reigns and says that was great, but Reigns shoves him down. Punk then comes to brawl with Reigns and check on a distraught Paul Heyman. Reigns is back in and goes after Punk, but Rollins gets a chair. Cole calls it the shield chair to kind of put it over the top like that. He hits Reigns and follows it with a stomp to both of them. Rollins then stares at Heyman, who's cowering in the corner, to end the show. Obviously, the last Raw before Mania, so not much in the way of matches per se, but a lot of build. But I'd say of the matches that happened on the show, Balor and Penta would have been my favorite. But a lot of build towards WrestleMania, obviously, so not looking for in-ring classics on the Raw go home. But we'll move on to NXT. We open NXT with Ethan Page defeating Lexis King, Eddie Thorpe, and Wes Lee when he hit the twisted grin on King after everyone had pretty much hit their finishers. This earns Ethan Page the North American title match at Stand and Deliver. After the match, Page taunts Ricky Saints, and Ricky Saints comes back in and hits a spear to end the segment. We then get Jordan Grace. She talks about starting out in wrestling and knowing she needed something else. This involved turning her body into a wall of muscle and becoming something that you couldn't find anywhere else. She got to TNA and is now in WWE and knows what she has to do to win her first WWE title this weekend. We then get most of the women's roster in the back talking about how they're going to win the women's North American Championship in the ladder match this weekend. Lola Vice then defeats Tatum Paxley to qualify for that ladder match following a spinning back fist. We then get Julia cutting her promo for the women's title match. She was tired of waiting for Stephanie Vercoeur, and she's back for revenge and her title. Jada Parker is confident, but Julia will show her how to take pain. Jordan Grace is strong, but Julia will introduce her to strong style. The women's division then argue in the back once again, and Ava makes a fatal four-way women's tag team match for Stand and Deliver, with the winner getting a women's tag team title match next week. And Roxanne Perez needs a partner. She needs to find a partner before Saturday. Hank and Tank then win the tag team gauntlet to become the number one contenders for the tag team titles at Stand and Deliver by last eliminating Briggs and Inamura. The other teams involved in the gauntlet were Igwe and DuPont, the Culling, and the No Quarter Catch crew. We then go to the back, and Evolve's Callie Armstrong is ready for her main event, but Ava teases that she has a surprise for the qualifying match for the final spot in the women's North American title ladder match. We then get Obafemi. He arrives at the building, and Dark State seemingly are following behind him. So we'll see if that ends up being anything. Jada Parker knows that looking the part isn't the same as being the best. She knows the pressure and is ready to move up to the next level. She lost her best friend when her uncle passed away, and she knows she can lose anyone. Now she just needs the big game situation to rise to the occasion. We then get the D'Angelo family without Tony D. They get into a fight in the parking lot with Dark State, which eventually goes inside of the building as well. Various weapons are used, and some Evolve wrestlers are beaten up before they crash through a wall. A fire extinguisher goes off, and Luca Crucifino is slammed onto a car. Tony D'Angelo finally shows up with a crowbar and clears out the Dark State. Cops arrive, and D'Angelo yells at Stacks for going over his head. D'Angelo has gotten a match set up for Stand and Deliver, and Stacks understands that he went too far. So the D'Angelo family will take on the Dark State at Stand and Deliver. We then get Stephanie Vaquer. She is ready for the biggest match of her life. We see her going back to her native Chile as the champion and talking about how important it was for her to bring that title back to her homeland. We then get Hank and Tank. They get it. They're in the back. They're ready to win, and Fraxium come in to say that they are ready as well. And I think Axiom shakes their hand, but Frazier isn't too keen to do so. Roxanne Perez comes in and says she found herself a tag team partner herself. She doesn't need a partner. She can do it alone. That doesn't work for Ava. And then Cora Jade shows up to tease being her partner. We then get Andre Chase. He is scared about ruining Uriah Connors and Cale Dixon, but Thea Hale comes in to say Chase didn't ruin her or any of Chase U. She then is ready to win the women's North American title, so she's the surprise that's in the qualifying match, and she defeats Carmen Petrovich via submission with the Kimura lock, so she gets the last spot. We then get Trick Williams. He comes out to say he'll win the NXT title. Obafemi comes out and interrupts him, says that Williams is a broken record, saying the same things he has said for months. No one is singing along, though, because the spotlight has moved on. Trick then seems to be ready to fight, but Javon Evans comes in to tell Trick to shut up. Evans then says Trick is dismissed and turns his attention to Obafemi. Evans has dropped Femi a few times lately and knows it's just a matter of time before Femi goes up to the main roster. Femi was a star at the University of Alabama, which makes Femi actually say Roll Tide. But Evans is a kid from North Carolina and shouldn't have gotten here. Femi says being champion means he is the top dog, and Evans is a child. Trick then is ready to fight again, and Evans is sent to the floor so the other two can brawl, and then Evans dives in to take both of them out and holds up the NXT title to end the show. As far as best match on NXT, I would go with the four-way that kind of opened the show. Again, a lot of build towards Stand and Deliver, not much in the way of matches, but I'd say that was a pretty solid four-way to open the show. The parking lot brawl, whether you decide that's a match or not, was pretty solid as well. But yeah, I'd definitely go with that four-way opener for the North American title shot. We then go to Dynamite. We see that the Death Riders have attacked Hook, who have been sent to the hospital. The trio's titles will still be on the line, but Shibata and Joe will have to find another partner. We then get Mercedes Moné defeating Athena via pinfall after reversing the O-face into a roll-up attempt, or a successful roll-up attempt. This moves Moné into the finals of the Owen. Tony Storm and Luther applaud Moné from the crowd. Hangman is interrupted by the Elite backstage, who think Paige should be happy that they cost Swerve Strickland the world title. Now Paige can win the title and bring it back to the Elite, but Paige doesn't seem impressed. He kind of walks away, and then Okada calls him a bitch, and then Paige comes back, and Okada kind of cowers before they back away from each other completely. We then get Hangman Page defeating the wild card, who is a debuting Josh Alexander. He defeats him via pinfall when he gets out of an ankle lock and catches him in a small package. After the match, Kyle Fletcher, who would be Page's second round opponent, comes out for a stare down. Don Callis tells Fletcher to go for it, and the brawl is on. And Page hits him with a clothesline. Callis talks to Josh Alexander, though, and Alexander jumps back in and jumps Hangman, as he seems to be a new Don Callis family member. And then Fletcher plants Page with a brainbuster and stands tall to end the segment. We then get Nick Wayne says the patriarchy is a hierarchy, but his father is gone, until Christian Cage out of nowhere comes in. Cage gets in Wayne's face and says he gave Wayne a month to find himself. In addition, he has gotten Wayne a spot in the Best of the Super Juniors in New Japan. And as for tomorrow, which will be the second episode of Collision I'll cover, he has him a Ring of Honor television title shot. And Wayne says he'll win it all by himself. Then Christian Cage slaps him in the face to kind of wake him up. So Christian did quite a few things for him there. So we'll see if he can cash in on that title shot. We then look back at FTR turning on Cope again and then taking out Garcia on Collision. We then get the Hurt Syndicate defeating the Gates of Agony when Lashley hits the spear on Bishop Khan. Following the match, MJF says he knows how great it is, or how great he is, and praises the Hurt Syndicate. And then he says, well, maybe not MVP. MJF has some talent, should we say, in the back, and says he will bring them out to meet the Hurt Syndicate. One of the women pays a lot of attention to Shelton Benjamin. He seems to like it. Seems to like the attention, but needs a little bit more time to make his decision on MJF. By that he means the watch off of MJF's wrist. He wants his Rolex or whatever kind of watch he has. But that's not enough to get Benjamin's acceptance. MJF likes the idea and is willing to offer something else. As for Lashley, MJF is just better than him, and he knows it. And then after the break, Benjamin and Lashley agree to have a nice night with the ladies that MJF provided them. We then get Will Ospreay. He defeats Konosuke Takeshita via pinfall following the Stormbreaker. That advances Will to the finals of the Owen. So we'll see who he faces in the finals, whether it's Fletcher or Hangman. We then get the Ops, which ends up being Joe, Shibata, and Powerhouse Hobbs. They defeat the Death Riders, which is Mox, Claudio, and Yuta, to become the new Trios champions when Joe got Mox in the Coquina Clutch, and Mox passes out. I can't remember if he passed out or tapped out, but I'm pretty sure he passes out. And then some of the roster come out with champagne to celebrate the title change to end the show. So this was this was like a home run Dynamite. I mean, I think obviously they knew it was Mania week, so they needed to pull out all the guns. But I mean, Ospreay and Takeshita was absolutely the best match, but Athena and Monet was really good, and Hangman and Alexander was also very good as well. And that trios title match was good as well. So obviously I know a lot of traveling and stuff happened this week with it being WrestleMania week, but I would watch pretty much this whole episode of Dynamite if you hadn't seen it already. So really, really good stuff. But Ospreay Takeshita would be number one for me, but all those other matches were fairly solid, if not really good. So, but we'll move from there to the Impact, which ended up kind of just being like a countdown show to Unbreakable. So I probably could have skipped it, but I'm going to go ahead and cover it anyways. But we start with Laredo. He defeats Jason Hotch via pinfall following a Super Spanish Fly. Leon Slater is ready for Brian Myers tonight, but he still wants to become the youngest X Division champion. Cody Deaner then has a conversation with Santino Marella about extending his contract, and Santino has actually gotten him a Ultimate X qualifying match for tonight. Xia Brookside then defeats Jasmine Nix via pinfall after some distraction from Rosemary, and she catches Jasmine in a small package. We then get Cody Deaner in his X Division or Ultimate X qualifying match where he loses to Casey Navarro via pinfall when Navarro used a chain to knock Deaner out. After a commercial break, Navarro is very fired up about his win and is ready to become X Division champion. We then look at Maggie Lee beating Savannah Evans on Explosion with some help from the personal concierge. Lee thinks there is a lot going on at the moment, but she isn't changing for anyone. The personal concierge is here with Maggie Lee, who is an official project of the Team by Elegance. Therefore, tonight she has a special partner, which is Ash's partner, Heather by Elegance. So we didn't get that match, but Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley are able to defeat Heather by Elegance and Maggie Lee when they hit the cemetery driver on Heather. And then after a commercial break, Heather is panicking. So Metaphor, Spitfire, and Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley are all in the back. They say they all want title shots, and Heather kind of snaps and says yes to all of them. So, and then they kind of freak out because she just offered a title shot to 3 separate teams, and Ash wasn't there to be part of that decision. We then get AJ Francis. He is ready to win the international title, which he is already qualified to be in the finals of. Joe Hendry and Masha Slamovich say they're both ready for Unbreakable, kind of both talking about each of their opponents from Rebellion that they will be facing in a tag team or mixed tag team match at Unbreakable. Danny Luna then defeats Jakara Jackson via pinfall following the Luna landing. Elijah is in and out for a song. He sings about how we walk this way in TNA and how we want some barbecue after the show. He then switches to talking and issues an open challenge for Rebellion. We then get a final promo from Ethan Page. He is ready to win the TNA title at Rebellion because Joe Hendry is banged up and he is better. He's just better than Frankie Kazarian in every way. He cut this promo like he didn't have a title match on Saturday, like he was going to rest up for the whole week. So it was kind of weird, but maybe they hadn't planned that when they taped this or whatever. But yeah, he acted like he wasn't going to be wrestling anytime soon, and Joe would. So seemed kind of weird. But then we get our main event, which is Brian Myers defeating Leon Slater via pinfall following the roster cut. Again, building towards a show, building towards Rebellion, and this was actually like I said, kind of like a pre-show for Unbreakable. So not much in the way of matches, but that main event was probably the best of the bunch. If I had to give a best match to it. We'll then move on to our second episode of Collision. We get a big recap from Dynamite. Marina Shafir is beating up a production worker for some reason. And the rest of the Death Riders come out to wreck a bunch of just stuff laying around the stage and the arena. Mox says everyone who was celebrating last night, enjoy it while you can. He officially does not like the Young Bucks and threatens their future if they cross his path again. Samoa Joe, that brings him to Samoa Joe, who Mox has always respected, but Joe has started something that Mox has to finish. And then Mox challenges Joe for a world title match, and then the Death Riders leave. We then get Kevin Knight defeating Lance Archer via pinfall following a springboard clothesline. The Ops are still pretty pissed off, but they are happy that they won the trios titles. And Samoa Joe will face Mox anytime, any place that he would like. We then get Chris Statlander and Jamie Hayter. They respect each other, but they are ready to face off in the Owen Hart tournament. The winner between the two of them will face Mercedes Moné in the finals, obviously. FTR then has sent an apology letter to Tony Schiavone and Nigel McGuinness, though Schiavone, they said Schiavone needed to be scared for a little bit, which is why they thought about pile driving. They didn't want to hurt Nigel either, as his body and mind are already fragile enough. We then get the new member of the Don Callis family, Josh Alexander, teaming with Takeshita to defeat Rocky Romero and Tomohiro Ishii. When Alexander finishes Ishii off with a powerbomb. After the match, Ishii and Romero have some issues, and they start to brawl. Someone in a hoodie shows up to help take out Ishii, and it is Trent Beretta. And then they pull out a monkey wrench and lay Ishii out once again. So Beretta was part of the Don Callis family before he kind of went out with an injury. And this seems to imply that maybe Rocky Romero will be part of that as well. We then get Mercedes Moné. She is excited to be in Boston, but Harley Cameron pops up with the Moné puppet. Monet gets annoyed, and then that she started talking to the puppet and storms off. We then get Megan Bain defeating Ashley Vox and Rebecca Scott when she hits Fate's Descent on Vox, landing her on Rebecca Scott for the win and does the double pin again. We then get a hype video for Anthony Bowens. Adam Cole then issues an open challenge for the TNT Championship. Claudio Castagnoli answers and seems to have the match won as he pretty much dominates, but gets a little cocky on a cover, and Adam Cole ends up crucifixing him for the surprise pin and win. After the match, Castagnoli wrecks a bunch of things around ringside, and Moxley and the Death Riders have to get him away before he destroys anything else. We then get the Learning Tree, which is Big Bill and Brian Keith. They are disappointed in Chris Jericho, but Brian Keith tells Big Bill to keep this private and within the family instead of putting their dirty laundry out on the air. They want to handle it like family, but Big Bill doesn't seem happy about any part of the situation. We then get La Facción Ingobernables defeating three random jobbers, with Roosh hitting the horns to win the match. Kevin Knight is happy with his win earlier tonight, but not so much with the Don Callis family. Mike Bailey congratulates him, but Ricochet comes in to interrupt. Ricochet tells him to not mess with the chain of command, though Knight says he respects Ricochet for what he has done. Knight mocks the fact that Ricochet doesn't have any hair, and a little bit of a fight is teased, but Bailey tells them that they'll do this later. We then get Nick Wayne defeating Commander via pinfall following a Fisherman Buster to become the new Ring of Honor television champion, so making his father proud. We then get a hype package for Hologram. Top Flight is then ready to fight the Crew next week. Crew then comes in, and they have a little bit of a back and forth yelling at each other. And then in the main event, Chris Statlander and Julia Hart defeat Mercedes Moné and Harley Cameron when Stat hit the Haterade on Harley. So kind of a shot at Jamie Hayter as they'll face each other on Dynamite coming up. Another solid episode of Collision. I would give the best match of the night to Commander and Nick Wayne. I thought it was a pretty good Ring of Honor Television Championship match, but solid card up and down. But that was the one that stood out the most to me. We will then go to Unbreakable, which was TNA's special event that happened in Vegas. The first match was an international title tournament match where Eric Young defeats JDC and Zachary Wentz when he delivers the pile driver to JDC. This advances Eric Young to the finals for the new TNA International Championship. Steve Macklin then defeats Eddie Edwards and Ace Austin when he hit the KIA on Edwards after Alicia had slapped her husband accidentally. This advances him and gives him the final spot in the international title match with AJ Francis and Eric Young. Frankie Kazarian is fired up for the mixed tag team match tonight, and Tessa says she is coming for Masha tonight, but at Rebellion she is coming for her title. We then get Moose issuing an open challenge for his X Division title, and Sidney Akeem, the former Reggie from WWE, answers, and Moose defeats him via pinfall following a spear and retains his championship. Steve Macklin then runs into Eric Young in the back and tells him that it's may the best man win later tonight. Santana and the Hardys then defeat Mustafa Ali and the Nemeths when the Hardys hit the Twist of Fate and Swanton on Ryan. The System then jump Zachary Wentz backstage. We then get the mixed tag where Joe Hendry and Masha Slamovich defeat Frankie Kazarian and Tessa Blanchard when Hendry hits the standing ovation on Kazarian. We then get Mike Santana. He wants Mustafa Ali at Rebellion, and Santino Marella seems to be interested in that idea. We then get Ace Austin. He brings out Chris Bay for a special appearance in his hometown. Bay walks out with Austin shouting on his own 2 feet, which Bay was given the diagnosis that he may never walk again. So the fact that he's walking here is awesome. Chris Bay then says he is the ultimate finesser, And 172 days ago, he broke his neck in the ring. It was embarrassing for him because he wanted to finish the match for the fans. He was able to quickly have surgery and learn to walk again. Austin was there for him every day, and Bay had to remember who he was. Thanks to the fans at home and the people in the locker room backstage, he is able to walk again. Bay had to remind himself that he is unbreakable, just like TNA, and that this is the greatest story ever told. And thanks the fans once again. We then get Sami Callihan. He defeats Mance Warner via pinfall in the Barbed Wire Massacre match when he hits the Cactus Driver 97 onto some barbed wire. It was actually kind of wrapped around them and below them at the same time, so it was kind of insane. But this match is not for the weak stomach, I would say. I thought it was awesome because it was brutal and bloody and just really, really fun. But it might not have been everyone's cup of tea. We then get Elijah. He comes to serenade the crowd with a song and reminds us all of his open challenge at Rebellion. We then get Steve Macklin. He defeats Eric Young and AJ Francis when he hit the KIA on Francis, and he becomes the first and new TNA International Champion. So pretty sweet belt. This guy kind of looks like all the TNA titles, but it has a blue strap. So I thought it was a pretty nice looking belt. And then just in the show, the Nemeths get a note from Matt Hardy, and obviously it's like a big hologram pops up of Matt Hardy, and he invites them to the Nemeths to the Hardy compound for deletion. But a solid show. With a pay-per-view coming up next week, they kind of held some stuff back, but my favorite match from the show, I would say, was Barbed Wire Massacre, just because, like I said, it was a brutal, just bloody, fight between two guys that hate each other. So that was my favorite match. Maybe the best match of the show was the Ace, Eddie Edwards, and Steve Macklin triple threat. So favorite, best, whatever you want to say. Those are the two matches that stood out the most to me. We'll go from there to SmackDown. Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga arrive earlier in the day, but LA Knight came in and slammed Tama Tonga's car door on his arm. We then get Seth Rollins to start the show. He's not used to being on SmackDown, but he does he says Friday Night Rollins instead of Monday Night Rollins. Obviously, the fans chant CM Punk back at him, so Punk actually sits down like Punk with his legs crossed, talking on the mic. Then we get a Roman Reigns chant, but Rollins would rather talk about Punk first. Those chants for 10 years brought Punk back to the ring, but it wasn't a WWE ring. It wasn't for the fans, but rather for someone, or because someone wrote him a big fat check. After he burned that bridge, he came back to WWE because they wrote him another big fat check. Rollins points out and tells the fans when he's telling lies. He tells them to tell him when he's telling lies, because he's obviously telling the truth for the most part. But they're booing him obviously because he's supposed to kind of be more of the heel on this situation than any of the other two. The reality is that Punk doesn't care about anyone, and the reality is that Roman Reigns only cares about himself. Reigns is Mr. Private Jet and Mr. Handpicked Opponent because Reigns is always about making himself look bigger. Every year, Reigns kept getting treated as the biggest thing in the world, and there was always some CM Punk chants. While this was happening, Rollins was working every day, sacrificing his body. Last year at WrestleMania, he was there despite his knee hanging on by a thread and his stepfather dying of cancer. Now the fans start to sing Rollins' song as he talks about how the story ends at WrestleMania, where he will lay it all on the line to move the business forward. And yes, that is a spoiler, not a prediction. We then get Carmelo Hayes. He wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, last eliminating Andrade. The other participants in the Battle Royal were Rey Fenix, Shinsuke Nakamura, Otis, Berto, Angel, Kit Wilson, Elton Prince, Akira Tozawa, Santos Escobar, Carlito, the Creed brothers, R-Truth, the LWO, minus Rey Mysterio, Miz, Karrion Kross, Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne, Ludwig Kaiser, A-Town Down Under, Chad Gable, and Dragon Lee, who was in the LWO, obviously. We then get a sit-down interview with Charlotte, who doesn't like where this feud with Tiffany Stratton has gone, as it's kind of gotten a little too personal. But she is ready for the big stage and to win her women's title. We then get Rhea Ripley. She's out to the ring to kind of cut a promo. She says this is going to be her 6th WrestleMania, and she's always in a title match, but this feels like the most important so far. She lost her title right before WrestleMania, and this Sunday she is going to win back what she lost. Io Sky comes in to interrupt, but before she can say anything, Bianca Belair comes in. She wants the title, and here's Naomi to interrupt as well. Naomi has been trying to talk to Belair because she wanted to handle their differences in private. Instead, though, we have to do this in public because Jade wasn't there. And here comes Jade as well. Ripley gets in Jade's face, but Naomi knocks Jade into her, and then a big brawl ensues, and Sky hits the over the moonsault to wipe everyone out on the outside. We then get American Made. They mock Rey Fenix and then Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio come in, and they kind of tease like they're going to fight. But Phoenix says they should have a 6-man tag later on tonight, and it seems to be agreed upon. We then get the Motor City Machine Guns fighting the Street Profits for the tag titles, but it ends in a double DQ when DIY gets involved, and then DIY steals the title belts and leaves the arena, or leaves to go backstage. We then get Chelsea Green and her secret Hervis. So it's like supposed to be Secret Service, but she is her, so it's her secret Hervis. They serve Nick Aldis with an official complaint. Aldis says there is a complaint. So tonight's 6-woman tag is now a singles match with Chelsea Green taking on Zelina Vega, and the secret Hervis is barred from ringside. Nick Aldis then cuts off DIY from leaving the arena with the titles. The Guns and the Profits then come in, and Aldis takes the titles. It says next week the titles will be above the ring because all 3 teams will have a TLC match. We then get Randy Orton. He comes out to the arena. He says as of right now he doesn't have a WrestleMania opponent. His father was at the first WrestleMania, and then 20 years later he made his WrestleMania debut at the Garden. Then he's going to show up on Sunday in his gear and with just the right amount of baby oil. So anyone in the back who wants to come test themselves, come fight him, but just be ready for an RKO. Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre then got into a fight on the WrestleMania kickoff event. Priest is tired of McIntyre being a victim, but tomorrow Priest is going to beat him so badly that he wishes he was future endeavored again. We get another vignette of the person with the smoke. It says he will be here next week on SmackDown. So just one more week before we see who the person with the smoke vignettes has been. I'm fairly positive it's going to be Aleister Black, but obviously they haven't given a name to it or anything like that. But I would be shocked if it's not him. We then get Zelina Vega. She defeats Chelsea Green again. This time by pinfall after she hits a middle rope code red. LA Knight then comes in for a chit chat. He talks about trying to take out Jacob Fatu's relatives, so it's 1-on-1 at WrestleMania. This U.S. title means the most in WWE because he's around the most. So Solo Sikoa can get out of here right now and take his beating. LA Knight then defeats Solo Sikoa via DQ. When Jacob Fatu comes out and attacks. After that, Braun Strowman runs in to make the save, and then it gets made into a tag team match. Braun Strowman and LA Knight then defeat Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu when Knight hits the BFT on Solo. We then get an interview with Tiffany Stratton talking to Wade Barrett. She said she's tired of being taken advantage of, so she's retaining the title at WrestleMania. To prove her worth and prove that she's just as good as Charlotte Flair. We then get Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio teaming with Phoenix to defeat American Made when Phoenix hits a top rope Meteora on Julius Creed. We then get Cody Rhodes out for his final face-to-face with John Cena. Before Rhodes can say anything, as he was out first, Cena comes out and interrupts him. Cena tells him to shut his mouth, kid. because this is going to be his last WrestleMania. No one has had the courage to finish their career like he has, to the point where no one believes he's really leaving. Everyone else comes back and they all need these people, but Cena has happiness on his own. Last year, Rhodes won the title, but Cena told him that it is going to get heavier and heavier every day. Cena defeated Rhodes when Rhodes said no one said no, when Cena defeated Rhodes when Rhodes said no to Rock because it was over then. On Sunday, the title reign comes to an end when Cena proves that the fans don't matter. Rhodes has been wanting to be somebody, and on Sunday he will find out that he is just a kid playing in a man's world. Rhodes brings up Cena, saying that he doesn't bury talent, but there is a graveyard of people who would disagree. Cena doesn't know the wrestlers' names, but the reality is that Cena is out of time, paler than Sting, and at Starrcade 97, and it's 2025, and he still can't wrestle. Cena says the fans don't know what they want, and he doesn't have to wrestle to beat Cody Rhodes. Cena then goes for a shot to the face in an AA. He actually, I think he pokes him in the eye and then goes for the AA, but it eventually gets reversed, and Cody hits the crossroads to end up standing tall to end the show. Again, I've said it, I'm like a broken record at this point, but not much in the way of matches. I would say that Battle Royal was actually a really well done Battle Royal, so that would be what I would give match of the night on SmackDown. But again, not much more than just a lot of building towards Mania, Stand and Deliver, all that kind of stuff. So the Andre Battle Royal would get match of the night for me there. We'll move on to Stand and Deliver, so we're getting into the big stuff. We open with Ricky Saints defeating Ethan Page via pinfall following the Rochambeau. We then get Hank and Tank defeating Fraxium when they hit the Hank and Tank Express on Frazier to become the new NXT Tag Team Champions. After the match, they shake hands, or actually they hug, because they kick away their handshake and then they end up hugging each other. We then get Penn and Teller. It's just Penn at first. But he's talking about how some wrestlers don't believe they can do magic. Lexis King comes in with his Heritage Cup, who says he's too much of an intellectual to believe that magic is real. The cup is then put in a cage and a curtain is pulled down. Penn then pulls the curtain back up and the cup is gone, and Teller is in there instead, and he has a Jey Uso shirt on and he's yeeting continuously. So the cup is gone seemingly. We then get the 6-woman ladder match for the NXT North American Women's Championship, and Sol Ruca is the one that climbs and grabs the title and becomes the new champion. We then get Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley, who had won on the pre-show. They are happy to get their women's tag team title shot, and no matter who the champions are next week, they will defeat them. We then get the Dark State. They defeat the D'Angelo family after Stax turns on Tony D finally, kicks him low, and then the Dark State hit their little slingshot triple team powerbomb to win the match. We then get Hank and Tank. They're fired up over their win and says this is when they got together as a team, this is what the goal was, and these are the memories that they'll remember forever. We then get Stephanie Vaquer. She successfully defends her title against Jada Parker, Julia, and Jordan Grace when she hits the SVB on Parker. Lexis King is still looking for his Heritage Cup, but can't find anything or anyone who's seen Penn or Teller after they made his thing disappear, or made his cup disappear. Stax is then shown limping to the car, and Crucifino comes in to ask what the hell's going on. Stax says he'll explain later to keep his phone on him, so Stax can text him his location, and then after that he drives away, and Crucifino seems very confused. And then we get our main event where Obafemi retains his NXT title over Trick Williams and Javon Evans after hitting the Fall from Grace powerbomb on both men, and ends up pinning Javon for the win. A really good show, kind of harken back to days of old, with the NXT show being kind of so good that WrestleMania had to kind of live up to it. So it wasn't like an all-time great or anything. I mean, it wasn't like a takeover New Orleans or anything like that, but a really good show, really good way to kick off WrestleMania Saturday. And like I said, it kind of harkened back to those days because the tag team title match was very good. The opener was solid. I wouldn't say it would blow anything out of the water. I really enjoyed the ladder match. Dark State and Tony D, or the Tony D family, was really good as well. Women obviously was great, and then that main event really blew it out of the water, which is what I would give match of the night to, on or match of the morning, I guess, because it started at 9 a.m. But yeah, Obafemi, Trick, and Evans would get my match of the night on that one. And then we'll move on to WrestleMania Night 1. We open with Jey Uso winning the World Heavyweight title from Gunther via submission in a pretty weak sleeper hold, and he tapped pretty quick. Pyro's going off after the match, and Jimmy Uso comes in to embrace his brother and celebrate. And then he and Jay leave through the crowd in a great moment, full of yeets. But we'll move on from there. We get the New Day defeating the War Raiders to become the new World Tag Team Champions when Woods covers Ivar and Kofi holds the leg down so it can't kick out. We then get Jade. Jade Cargill defeats Naomi via pinfall following Jaded. Jacob Fatu then defeats LA Knight via pinfall following 2 triple jump moonsaults to become the new United States champion. We then get El Grande Americano defeating Rey Fenix, who had replaced Rey Mysterio because Rey tore his groin in that 6-man on SmackDown, I believe is what the official diagnosis was. But El Grande wins via pinfall with the diving headbutt with the steel plate loaded into the mask. We then get Shawn Michaels coming out to announce the attendance was 61,467. It was really funny. He comes out with the card, and they actually caught it on camera, and the card is literally just in giant bold letters the number that he's supposed to read off. So that was pretty funny. We then get Tiffany Stratton retaining her championship via pinfall following the prettiest moonsault ever over Charlotte Flair. We then get the Hall of Fame class presented to the Mania crowd, and then we go to our main event where Seth Rollins defeats Roman Reigns and CM Punk when Paul Heyman turns on Punk first, seemingly siding with Roman, and then he turns on Roman, and Rollins finishes Reigns off with a chair shot and a stomp to win the main event. So not a bad show by any stretch. I kind of disagree with how quickly Gunther tapped in the opener. Though he did just get hit, he had just gotten hit with like a couple of spears and then 3 splashes. So I could see like his body being worn out from the blow after blow after blow. So I kind of get it. But I thought Fatu in LA Knight was really good as well. I really enjoyed that one. Phoenix and El Grande Americano was a solid match. I think it improved drastically by Rey not being in it, but I think Rey Mysterio, obviously. I think Rey Mysterio could have gotten a good match out of it, but I think Phoenix is a little bit more talented at this point and a little bit more capable of having a good match. So that one entertained me. Tiffany and Charlotte was kind of a sloppy, brawl, which I think is what it needed to be based on the feud and all that. I think there were some spots where it seemed like they were, you could kind of tell what they were thinking or that they were trying to lead to the next thing. So that one could have been better, but I still enjoyed it for the most part. And then the main event was excellent, excellent story told. Everybody kind of saw the Rollins Heyman connection coming, but I think they pulled it off pretty well. So that would definitely be match of the night, but a solid night of WrestleMania. I wouldn't say it was one of the better nights since they've done the multi-night WrestleManias, but a solid one nonetheless. We'll go to night 2 from there. We open with Stephanie McMahon. She says the last time WrestleMania was in Las Vegas, she was 16 years old. Now they're back, and her middle daughter is 16 years old, and that's because WWE is family and then welcomes everyone to WrestleMania. We then get our opener, which was Io Sky defeating Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley when she hit the over the moonsault on Bianca Belair as Bianca was pinning Rhea, and then Io pins Bianca to retain her women's world title. We then get Drew McIntyre. He defeats Damian Priest via pinfall in the Sin City street fight when he claymores Damian Priest's head into a steel chair that was kind of wedged in the corner in the ropes in the turnbuckle. We then get Dom Mysterio. He defeats Penta, Braun Breaker, and Finn Balor to become the new Intercontinental Champion when Dom hits a frog splash while Finn is pinning Braun Breaker, and then he pins Finn and becomes the new champion. We then get Randy Orton out for his open challenge, and Joe Hendry, the TNA World Champion, answers. And it didn't go very long, but Randy defeats him via pinfall following the RKO. So I thought that was a really cool moment for Joe and for TNA for their world champion to kind of be on the Mania card. Randy, there were a lot of people kind of thrown out to be Randy's opponent, but I think it's cool for something like this, for this to be somebody like Hendry. Hendry's a big star. The entrance was awesome, and everybody popped for it and sang along and stuff like that. So I think it was the perfect moment to do something like this. I don't think if it was Rusev or Aleister Black or whoever going to return or whatever, anything like that, I think this was perfect the way that they executed it, and I really enjoyed it. But after the match, Orton shows him respect, shakes his hand, raises his hand for the crowd, and then, of course, lays him out with another RKO. And then Orton does the little thing where Hendry's facing away from the camera and does the turnaround, and then he does his Randy Orton pose after that, and it got a pretty good reaction from the crowd. So I thought that was pretty funny. But we then get Logan Paul. He defeats AJ Styles via pinfall following the pulverizer. After Karrion Kross had gotten involved, I don't think he actually ever did anything to Styles, but he just kind of distracted him for long enough for Logan Paul to get some shots in and finish the match off. We then get Lyra Valkyria and a returning Becky Lynch, who was her surprise partner, defeating Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez to become the new women's tag team champions when Becky hit the manhandle slam on Liv Morgan. We then get Steve Austin to come out to announce the overall attendance and the attendance for night 2. And he comes out on the ATV, and he was hauling ass on this thing. And there was one point where he was like turning the corner, and he kind of had, he had kind of come off the acceleration, and then he accelerated really hard again and runs into the barricade and knocked a fan over pretty hard. I don't know if he actually hurt her or not, but Nick Khan had kind of gone over and talked to her. So it was kind of a weird moment. He had stood there and apologized for whatever happened to her. I don't know if he just knocked her over or broke her foot or what happened, but it was a pretty intense moment there for a second. But Austin announces the crowd as 63,226 for night 2. And he starts to recount in his head to see what the overall attendance was. And he starts counting them one by one by one. And then he says the 2-night attendance was 124,693. And then he does his usual beer bash. And then after he goes back over and checks on the lady again, doused in beer. Maybe not the best look, but whatever. But pretty cool pop for Austin. But yeah, kind of a wild moment when he ran into the barricade and knocked the woman over. And then we get our main event where John Cena defeats Cody Rhodes via pinfall following a belt shot with the WWE Championship after some chicanery with Travis Scott had happened before that. So John Cena, 17-time world champion, did it and defeated Cody Rhodes. Terrible booking decision there at the end. Not something I'm mad about because I love wrestling, but it's not something I get super pissed off about. I think, obviously I don't know The Rock's availability. I don't know if he was ever going to be there or if plans changed or something happened that wasn't supposed to happen or, things are supposed to be different or blah, 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 or anything like that. I'd say if you're going to have Cena win the title here, just do the Elimination Chamber angle here. Have him turn in the match, have The Rock and Travis Scott help him or help beat down Cody, and then Cena pin him because he hit him with, Cena hit him with bomb after bomb. He hit like 5 attitude adjustments, and he hit a super attitude adjustment or avalanche attitude adjustment from the top rope. So he hit him with bomb after bomb, and for it to just end on like a basic ass belt shot to the head after all of that really made Cody's reign, in the long run. I mean, he held it for a year, and it was great. He had great matches, but it really made it look weak there on the end. Not a fan at all of the finish. And the show was great before that. Like I thought the night was, perfectly awesome up into that point. But that, you always remember the ending, and you always remember how you feel walking out of the show or turning off the show for the night. And this is just the wettest of wet fart endings to the title reign and to the show and to the weekend and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping there's an exclamation of some kind at some point on maybe Raw or SmackDown this week. But yeah, super wet fart ending to the show. I'm not quite as pissed off as maybe others are about it, but definitely a weak ending in the end. But the opener was the best match for me, the women's world title match, just an absolute banger. McIntyre Priest was awesome. I thought it was a really good street fight between the two guys. The IC title with the Dom moment, him winning the title, and the crowd popping pretty hard for it. The Hendry moment was awesome. Paul and Styles wasn't, like an all-time great match or anything like that, but a solid, like, gentleman's 3 for me is what I would kind of have it at. So a solid match. AJ Styles is almost 50. He can't quite go as hard as he used to. And Logan Paul's, he's good, but he's still green and young to the business and all that kind of stuff. So he's not going to just be able to elevate anybody he's in there with or anything like that. So, and the Becky moment was good for the tag title match. But yeah, that main event was, the sad thing is the match was pretty good before that, but it just, that ending was just a wet fart. And it left you kind of wanting more. But we'll see what kind of happens on Raw. Obviously, I'm recording this before the Raw After Mania tonight. But yeah, we'll kind of see what happens there. But hopefully they can course correct and make things better. And we'll get starting to build to WrestleMania 42 next year. So, but thank you for joining me. I'm not going to do TV match rankings because honestly, there wasn't just a ton of great matches on TV other than those Dynamite matches. But and I didn't put together a match rankings list of the pay-per-views of the week. So obviously it's WrestleMania season. Check out all the shows. They are still entertaining to watch. Some of the shows are better than others, but and one night may have been better than the other or whatever, but definitely check out everything. It's still WrestleMania. It's still great. It's still a spectacle. It's still really fun to watch. So thank you for joining me for this WrestleMania week recap, and we'll see you next week as we start to build to next year's WrestleMania.
My time is now. You can't see me. My time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me. My time is now. In case you forgot or fell off, I'm still hot. Knock your shell off. My money stacked fat, plus I can't turn the swell off. The franchise doing big business. I live this, it's automatic. I win this, so you hear those horns, you finished. A soldier, and I stay under you fighting. Plus I'm storming on you chumps like I'm thunder and lightning. Ain't no way you breaking me, kid. I'm harder than nails. Plus I keep it on lock like I'm part of the jail. I'm slaughtering stale competition. I got the whole block wishing they could run with my division, but they gone fishing with no bait. Kid, your boy hold weight. I got my soul straight. I brush your mouth like Colgate. In any weather, I'm never better. Your boy's so hot, you never catch me in the next man's sweater. If they hate, let them hate. I drop your whole clan. Lay your ass down for the 3-second tan. Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me, my time is now.
It's gon' be what it's gon' be. 5 pounds of courage, buddy base, 10 pants with a gold tee. It's a war dance, a victory step. A raw stance is a gift, and you insist it's my rep. John Cena trademark, y'all are so-so. And talk about the bread you make, but don't know the recipe for dough. Aiming guns in all your photos, that's a no-no. When this pop, your lip lock, your big talks a blatant no-so. See what happens when the ice age melt. It seems monetary status is not what matters, but it helps. I'm rocking timepiece by Benny, if any. The same same reason y'all could love me is the same reason y'all condemn me. A man's measured by the way that he thinks, not clothing lines, ice links, leather and minks. I spent 20 plus years seeking knowledge of self, so for now Mark Fredka's living life for wealth.
Your time is up, my